Hello everyone, this is Ian Cold here, back with, the official Yandere release on Steam. So this has been over a year in the making, and I know I've been a little quiet on posting lately. My apologies. I've had some personal things, as well as I've been working through the Steam review process for Yandere, but it's now up and released as of the time of this posting, and as I finally got that last review from the Steam team that said it's now been approved, I just thought back on the year and a bit that I've been working on Yandere and all the messages and comments I've got along the way and the feedback, and it's really incredible to see this come to life. And my apologies for having the Steam release take so darn long, but what it was is that when I would make a change, the Steam team would take 3 to 5 business days to get back to me with feedback and revisions. So there was that. There were a few other snags along the way, but it all worked out in the end. And I think it's just incredible because there were so many times when I did kind of want to stop working on the project for one reason or another. One of the biggest things with me, which is why I want to go so far and finally complete a project, is my tendency to kind of lose interest in something and then come up with a new, more interesting to me project and then start working on that. But then cycle repeats itself and nothing ever gets finished. So that's why I wanted to really finish this project and take it all the way. And again, the support I've had so far has really validated my thoughts on that. But getting through so many different bugs, getting through so many days of not wanting to work on it, but just coming back after a day or a few hours and working away on it, I think I've really taken it from a glorified way to go through a couple things I made in Krita sloppily to now a real game that I think people can enjoy and maybe a few might find funny. So I think this release on Steam will bring in a few new players, and we'll probably bring a few new people to the Discord, so that'll be quite fun. And there were a few mistakes or a few little things I made along the way because this was my first real altogether project with commissioning art, working with code, some of which wasn't only my own, things like that. But I think things turned out pretty darn well. And I was very, very scrutinous when it came to checking the endings and some other quality things like that. And if I were to do things over again, I'd try and find a way to automate testing the endings, things like that. I don't know if there is one, but like the manual testing of the endings really took me a lot of time. And the other thing I would have done differently is I would have done a lot more testing for the EXE, because I spent so much time developing it, I didn't spend enough time really playing through it. Maybe I would click through a couple sections, but I wouldn't just sit down and try and play it. And usually some of my friends who were doing that when testing, they found certain bugs. Like way back at the start of the project, the free roam didn't load. It didn't load, period. You would get to the end of the talk to section and it would just go blank, a blank gray screen. And it wouldn't do that in the editor, so for me developing it, I didn't see that, but my friend found it almost immediately and told me. But that's something I'd change, but I would not change working on this project. It's really been an experience getting to understand the other side, because I think a lot of people like me, they have a dream game or even a dream app idea and they want to bring it to life. And a lot of them do start, but not a lot of them finish. And I can definitely now understand why. There's a lot of struggle when it comes to coordinating the art, having an artistic vision, and trying to communicate that to people that don't know what you're talking about, or working on something day in and day out when there's no immediate reward or anything like that. Or sometimes it does get difficult. Sometimes there's an issue you go days without solving, but in the end, it's all worth it. It's all worth it. And this experience has been incredible, and I've gotten to work with some great freelancers, some great people, meet some great people, and I would do it again. I definitely would, and I will do it again. I've just got some things going on personally right now. Things have gotten busier in general, but I definitely would do it again. And I think this experience of Over Yandere, it's a little bit different than some other games. Maybe it doesn't have the same level of polish as some visual novels do, but I'm just one person. I had a few people when I started the project, but I'm just one person working on it now. And all things considered, I think it's pretty good. I've really done my best to put in that little bit of polish, loading sounds, loading screens, the art, the little bit of animations. I think maybe next time I might go with a bigger budget. Maybe see if I can get on a friend who can do more art and animations, things like that. But that's not to say I don't think Over Yandere looks good. I've had compliments on the backgrounds, on some of the character art, and I think it altogether looks really, really nice. And I just hope everyone enjoys the year's worth of work that is Over Yandere. You can find it now on Steam. And yeah, it's a journey come to a close, but not everything's over. I'm still planning on listening to feedback from people that play it, maybe adding save files, and also maybe tweaking or changing and adding endings or things like that, maybe some things to the free roam. But this is just brainstorming. But the real idea is that I'm not done with Over Yandere. I'm just at the point of an official Steam release. So, with that being said, thank you all for joining me on this journey. Hope you all enjoy the Steam release. And until next time, I'm Ian Cold. Thank you for watching.